All right, so we're going to be talking about debit versus credit in this video. Debit cards are like cash, okay? You can only spend what you have and it comes directly from your account. A credit card, however, you are borrowing money. This is not your money, this is the bank's money. It's money lent to you that you have to pay back. I'm just going to read these things out here to the side. It says the bank credit card company sends you a bill at the end of the month. Because remember, it's money. Credit card is borrowed money. It's money you have to pay back. Unless you pay the entire bill each month, you will also be charged interest. Remember, what interest means is that, say for example, that you owe $500. Well, if you accumulate interest, which is kind of like a fee added on each month, let's say, normally it's percent, but I'm going to make it easy and say the interest is $1 a month, then you'd have to end up actually owing more money than what you borrowed. So you would accumulate interest if you borrow the money, and interest can build up fast, okay? And if you pay your bill late, you will be charged late fees. So it's always important to pay your bill on time. So I'm going to kind of recap that. Remember, debit is money that's yours and it comes straight out of your bank account. And credit is money that's borrowed from the bank that you have to pay off at the end of each month. And remember, it collects interest if it's not paid in full. All right, now let's look at how much can you spend. So with the debit card, you can only spend what's in your account. You can only spend what you've earned. Now with a credit card, they might give you a credit limit. So for an example here, you have $15,000. Now remember, if you spend all $15,000, then you're going to pay back the 15 plus the interest that the bank is going to charge you. So what's really important about credit cards is if you don't have $15,000 to spend, then use it wisely. Because remember, it is something that has to be paid back to the bank. Okay, let's look at how each one does help us though. Using a debit card, you avoid debt. Now, what debt means is you avoid having to owe money that's not yours. You can track your daily spending. Okay, I have this much money, I have this much left. There's no open negotiation for that. And you can also budget with cash. With credit, the positive things about credit is it helps build your credit. And if you pay your things on time, it helps build up your credit report, which we're going to get into in the next video. Sometimes credit cards will maximize rewards to offer you rewards for using it, and you can purchase a protection plan for it as well. If you use your credit cards responsibly, it can help you do things like get a car loan. But remember, credit is something that has to be paid back. So if you're not paying it back, then that can actually hurt your chances of getting a loan. Okay, let's go ahead and let's look at this next piece here. And it says most debit cards, so what about rewards? Most debit cards don't offer any rewards, okay? Most credit cards offer reward points for every dollar, which you can redeem for cash or merchandise. But remember, you have to be careful with credit because if you borrow more than you can handle, you're going to end up paying a lot more in the long run. So all these rewards and stuff may not do you any good if you don't have the money. Okay, so what happens if your card is lost or stolen? Okay, so what you would do with a debit card is it may be limited liability if not reported immediately. If it's lost or stolen, you want to make sure you report it immediately to your bank for both cards. The credit card, though, there is zero liability. When you notify your institution of fraudulent transactions within their specified time frame, either card is money to you. So you always want to make sure, no matter whether it's a debit card or a credit card, if it's lost or stolen, you want to report it to your bank immediately. All right, and there's two questions we're going to answer to the side here, because basically we're going to talk about the difference versus debit and credit. So I'm going to go over these scenarios, and we're going to decide if it's debit or credit. All right, so it says, Marcy bought art supplies at the craft store. She paid for the supplies at the end of the month. So I'm going to underline that there, because she paid for the supplies at the end of the month. Did Macy pay with a credit card or a debit card? Remember, a debit card comes out right away. A credit card is something that you borrow and you have to pay back at least a portion of it at the end of the month. So here, because she had to pay it back at the end of the month, this would be a credit card that Macy used. All right, now let's look at Steven. Steven wanted a mouth guard for football that cost $23. He bought a less expensive guard so he would not overdraw his account. Would not overdraw his account is my main thing here. Did Steven pay with a credit card or debit card? Now, remember, debit card comes out of your account immediately. It does not let you spend what you don't have. So if Steven doesn't have $23, he can't use a debit card then to pay for it. So that's why he bought the less expensive one, so that his account would not be overdrawn. So here, when it talks about the account, that is associated with a debit card. So Steven used debit card to purchase his money.